Hi everyone. Hello. Welcome to today. Today is Wednesday. Welcome. I'll put my hair out of my face now. There you go. Welcome to Wednesdays. For fuck's sake, darlings. Hi everyone. Hi. Just a quick warm up. You know I leave these things to the last minute because I'm literally working until the very last minute to get this all together for you. It's the truth. That's how much I love you. It's how hard I work at this particular job. Now, who's here? Tony Vincent, Seattle, Naomi, hello, love, love you. Maggie, hi, darling. Mike Waddington, a warm welcome from disintegrating United Kingdom. It's fucked up, man, for fuck's sake. Looks and sounds great. Well, look, you know what you're having today. You know what's happening. It's the fucking Decameron. Oh, yes. I'm dressed in my most medieval garb. Just happens to be that it's the kind of clothes that I love anyway. Check out the shoes. Oh, green. I'm decked in what can only be described as the Black Death outfit for the day. Oh, a door just opened. So, Nicola, I'm here. Good, thank God. Steve, help us, God. Brian, I think I'm seeing you sometime soon. Dan Zuma, hello, mate. Yeah, the blouse is the tits. It's the tits. Can I say that? It's the tits. It's the fucking tits. Like the green boots. I mean, it's so medieval. I'm in my medieval Italian garb. Such a non-Italian looking person. I know. Good afternoons. Love the shoes. Rhino is on. South Africa is on. Did I miss yet? My darling Dougie Nixon, are you on? Oh, Brian, look at me, darling. Look at me, the ham of me. Look at the sheer ham that is me. Ham. Emma Doubleday, green boots are. Oh God, can't. Oh, you don't want to see underneath. That's horrible. Look, there. Look, and they said she wasn't flexible. Who else is on? Come on. Laura, hello, darling. I have the most expensive hairbands. Is anybody else out there the kind of gal or man, I like the men best when they do this, who uses fucking expensive sunglasses to hold their hair up? Does anybody else do this? Because you know what I mean? I'm not a scrunchy girl. It's not me. I couldn't, no. Sorry, no. But a good pair of glasses on the top of the head makes me look like both Eurotrash and somehow a lot more interesting and jet-setty than I really am. That's what I like, I think. It basically keeps my fucking hair on my face and it makes me look glamorous when I haven't bothered to brush it. All right. That's what you were getting at. Anyway, Tony Vincent. Oh my God, Doug's on. Doug is on, there you go. Doug is on. Kate, darling, is my sister on? I haven't noticed yet. Sue, are you on? Yeah, your glasses are on the top of your head, then fuck them all. Fuck them all if they can't take a joke. Are we ready for what I can only describe as today's amazing theme? I've described it as having fun and feeling good with the Black Death. Too soon? Well, here's the thing. Where is Pedro? Shall we wait for, drummers, timing? I'm not pointing fingers, but you know the joke. How do you know when the drummer's at the door? Yeah? The knocking speeds up? No. Stop it. There she is, darling Sue. Now, another one in the Owen Productions. Here we have my sister, curating, finding all the blessed, God-forbidden information about the Black Death she could possibly send me. God bless her heart, and I have been reading all night, during the night, in the morning, all of yesterday, until I came up with reams of trees that should have been allowed to live, to share with you about why we can have fun with the Black. We're not having fun with the Black Death. Remember I've been talking about the Decameron? Well, it turns out, thanks Sue, this is my medieval blouse. Turns out that not only, let me show you the wad. We think right now that this is something unique and different. We've seen SARS, we've seen swine flu, we've seen all these different things, avian flu, everything. Here's just a top 20. Yeah, there is a top 20 of top 20 best epidemics and pandemics, starting at number 20. Countdown. Those British people understand top of the flops. So here we have just like, this is just, I had this thickness of plagues that have gone throughout the course of time, starting BC, AC, DC, I don't know what, but from the beginning of time, this is what's happened. I want us all to actually join together and feel really fucking fortunate that we are not living in the Middle Ages faced with the Black Death. That's why I want to say many things, but we learn from history. Nothing has changed that much in the way that we react to these things, but there are amazing things that came out of and constantly come out of these awful times. I'm not saying they're not awful, they're fucking awful. We are having a terrible time, and that's just in our houses. We are having a terrible time, we are frightened, we are scared, but I want to put a bit of an angle on this, a bit of a silver lining. Join me today for my feeling good, having fun with the Black Death. I brought this. This is, Gabe Nicotcher will recognize this, he doesn't wear it, but the truth is, later on, this is what they wore in Venice. This was the doctor's mask. I got one of these in Venice, you'll all understand. This is what they wore to be able to deal with. You know, the Black Death carried on for hundreds of years, and it broke out in bubonic plagues. It was in the Great Plague in London. There was a Russian plague. It's been going forever. This is what the doctors wore. And there you have it. One would say, is the question, does this nose make me look fat? So, here we go. I'm starting. As somebody incredibly intelligent once said, Carole King, when you're down and troubled and you need a medieval shirt and green boots and you're dealing with fears of the COVID-19 every fucking minute of every day in ISO, what better way, screamed there, did you hear that, how high I went? What better way to put it all into perspective than by reading about the Black Death? If you're like me, you even get online and take a course in it. Thank you very much, Mark Childress, for pointing out this incredible course. Courses of Art, great courses it's called. It's 24 lectures on the Black Death. If I'm not cheered up by the end of it, there's something wrong with me. Truly the most terrifying plague in the history of mankind. It is number one on the top 20, starting here with number 20, and number one is, for the 3 trillionth week, the Black Death. It wiped out 60% of Europe. I mean, what? In literally a decade, just a matter of a few years. And it went, in one form or another, from the 1340s up into the 20th century. That gives you something to think about. More incredible, perhaps, are the similarities between now and then in the good and bad behavior. You know the ones. Oh yes, there were medieval Karens. Let me talk about those in a minute. In the economy, in calling it a hoax. In the misguided self-medications, in the religious denial and self-flagellation. God's incredible breathing apparatus. In growing superstitions and in the xenophobia that resulted. We haven't changed that much. We are so advanced. We are so incredible. We are such an amazing creature. We are king of the animals, but we're so fucking basic at the end of it. So advanced, so basic. But from the Black Death, I think they should give it a new name. I think there's all sorts of like negatives that come with that, don't you think? They need to get like, what can they call it? The darkish times. The most incredible changes in society came after the Black Death, and one might say it shaped our world, and it did. It shaped our world, and it shaped our society, and inspired true greatness. Am I clutching at straws, or am I hoping that this is going to be one of those exciting, life-changing times where actually society does change and we become better? We could, for fuck's sake, we could change it all. We can now. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, you do. Now, I'm using the Black Death to bring us hope, not as a buzzkill. I don't want to piss on your sparkle. I don't want to piss on anything. But as proof of how we've been here before, and much worse, by the way, without any medical care or knowledge outside of that stupid fucking mask, some leeching, some bloodletting, self-flagellation, smelling of posies and sweet things to, you know, to get rid of the bad things in the air. It wasn't, talk about the irony. They thought that was airborne. It wasn't. It was through the, I'm going to take you through the history. Really, I can tell you're gagging to know. I don't know, some of you might be actually on hard drugs at this point. You're so fed up with this. But it might topple those naysayers, doubters, those people who are anti-science. They didn't have the privilege of science. They didn't have that, the luxury of science in medieval times, the times when they wore silly shirts like this. But here I am today, a believer in science. Now let's just compare how the Black Death fecking started. All right, we know it was on rats. God bless them. Black rats, they love living around us. The other ones, they just hide like, ooh, no, don't hate. The black ones, they like humans. They're like the dogs of the rat community. Anyway, once the rats started dying, because it is a rat disease, then the fleas on the rats were like, well, he's dead, that's it. What do I, now we've run out of rats. Fuck's sake. And they started to jump onto human beings. Am I being condescending enough? And it came from the silk trade. Yeah. It started in the East, just like this one did. And this is not, you know, this is not conspiracy time or anything like that, but just follow this. The silk trade. This is unbelievable, this piece of information. So it came from the East. Here we're going to go. I'm going to go to my big wad of information now. So the point of origin, most scholars agree, that's not me. I don't think any of us would ever say I was a scholar. They agree, are on the Genoa. Gabriele Nicotra, back me up on this one. Genoese ships from the port of Kaffa on the Black Sea. And that time was part of Mongolia. I keep wanting to call it Magnolia. Somebody help me. It's not Magnolia, it's Mongolia. I'm dyslexic. The plague entered Europe from the east via Genoese trading ships. But it's basically thought to have spread along the Silk Road. Now, this is the bit that I love. It went up, it died down, it died up and died down. And then what it was the Italians that were going there for their silk, and then they would bring them back on the ships. Now, in Kaffa, there was a plague. There was a plague under the command, because it was a Muslim, and it was Khan Janibek, whose troops were infected by the plague. Now, when the soldiers died, Janibek did a lovely thing. Oh, really nice. He ordered that their corpses be catapulted over the walls of Kaffa to land on all the Genoese merchants. And this is said to have infected the city's population. Nice moments there, nice moments in time. So when we're remembering what we live through right here and now at this time, let's just remember that. Catapulting infected bodies over the... Just saying, if we just want to say, thank fuck I'm not alive, that's all we need to know right then. So the merchant ships fled the city. What did they take with them? The dog of rats. The black rat came with them. They fled. They went to Sicily, Marseille, Valencia, infecting them. There you go. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and the plague spread across Europe. Now, we are so lucky to have had Boccaccio, you know, who wrote the Decameron, to actually have told us how all this happened and to have traced this and to have written about it. But it is a phenomenal thing the way it came. Now, other rats just took the slow road. They were like, no, I'm a hiker. I get seasick. They walked across Europe and bit by bit just took it wherever they went. But then the fast route, it's like us on planes. So get this, us on planes. Yeah, me, all of us that fly everywhere because the world is so small. The ships were our version of planes at that time. Zip them in. And this time they've got the fleas on them, and that's how they did it. It's really quite remarkable. So that's how it came. And now in cities such as Florence, the horror began. And that's where I believe Boccaccio was writing the Decameron. Now, Boccaccio's Decameron, it's so similar to us. In so many ways. You know, it's the stories of 10 people, money's people, wealthy people, by the way, and they tell 100 stories between them about the effects of the Black Plague. And what's fascinating about this is that the way they describe behavior, the way he describes behavior, which is what he was seeing, of course, his belief was love conquers all. Kindness, love is what heals us. Medicine, science, we know that too, but fundamentally, the kindness of people who are taking care of each other and thinking about each other. But get this for similarities. This is unfucking believable. The pestilence was so powerful. Tell me if I'm boring you. I'll ignore you. It was transmitted to the healthy, blah, 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 blah. It went further, everyone you touched, and the clothing they wore. Doesn't that get you at the same time? There were people who thought that living moderately and avoiding any excess might help a great deal in resisting this disease. And so they gathered in small groups and lived entirely apart from everyone else. They shut themselves up in those houses where there were no sick people and where one could live well by eating the most delicate of foods and drinking the finest of wines, doing so always in moderation. Like me, I was shit-faced last night. I just got a bit down. It's okay. I'm fine now. Allowing no one to speak about or listen to anything said about the sick or the dead outside. Denial, thy name is human. These people lived entertaining themselves with music, that's me, and other pleasures that they could arrange. That's me. Others thought the opposite. They believed that drinking excessively, me last night, enjoying life, going about, still me, about singing and celebrating, satisfying in it, not me, every way the appetites as best one could, laughing, making light of everything, please. I'm trying not to make light, I'm trying to educate. That happened was the best medicine for such a disease. So they practiced to the fullest what they believed by going from one tavern, hello London, one tavern to another all day and night, drinking to excess, and they would often make merry in private homes, hello, doing everything, street parties, that pleased or amused them the most. This they were able to do easily, for everyone felt he was doomed to die anyway, so fuck it. It doesn't say that there. But doomed to die, and as a result, abandoned his property, so that most of the houses had become a common property, and any stranger who came upon them used them as if they were their rightful owners. Many others adopted a course between two attitudes just described. Neither did they restrict their food or drink as much as the first group, nor did they fall into such dissoluteness and drunkenness as the second. Rather, they satisfied their appetites they were the Welsh, to a moderate degree. They did not shut themselves up, but went around carrying in their hands flowers or sweet-smelling herbs, or various kinds of spices, and they would often put these things in their noses, believing that such smells were a wonderful means of purifying the brain, for all the air seemed infected with the stench of dead bodies, sickness, and medicine. Sorry, I said that was a downer. But doesn't this kind of sound like, I don't know, bleach, hydroxychloroquine thing, anything, you know, stuff you shove into yourself, use that you think could do. They didn't all escape their lives, obviously. Yeah. Shocking, isn't it? So it's the same kind of crap going on. Isn't it interesting? 1340, shut away, isolate, be with each other, eat well, take care, play music, but be cut off, and the fuck this, I'm going fucking nuts. And there's the difference. None. We're the same. We're exactly the same. It feels to me like we're exactly the same. Now the thing is, what it also says, and what Boccaccio really showed in the Decameron, was that we're still the same people who are the have and the have-nots. We're still living with the people that can afford to go to the Hamptons, or pop down to Cornwall, or out to, you know, the Cotswolds or something, and be in the country and stay away. Go to the country, you can afford to go to the country, and you can be away from everything else, and then you're safe. And then there's the have-nots. The people who can't afford to leave anywhere that they have and can hardly make it through anyway financially and have no choice. It's the same thing. 1340, 2020. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, let's move on. Here we go. So there you have the incredible behaviour of this whole thing. Because, you know, we are indeed, what can I say? We are indeed creatures of habit. Before I get to a song of the very same name, I would like to say that this isolation was an incredible thing that not only was in Florence and in many places. Venice was one of the great isolationists. I mean, it really figured it out. They had the islands, you know, those islands that are outside that make Murano and everyone like that. Well, they had an island out there, Lazaretto Nuovo and Lazaretto Vecchio. Thank you, I've been there. And basically, they kind of built what were giant hospitals, forts, to keep the people in them and to keep them away from the rest of Venice. It was the only way, they said, this was the only way to protect everyone's health and allow the economy to survive, was by isolation, to keep the plague-stricken Venetians there. So And that's, of course, what we owe the English name of quarantine, of course, to Italians, to the Italian term for 40 days, 40 giorni. And it's, so these islands were the center of Venice's, public health system. And what's incredible is that this way, large-scale methods of isolation and information collecting was the way they monitored and fought the infectious diseases. The effort is even more impressive today, given that science could not explain how diseases spread at that time. A germ theory of disease would not exist for another 400 years. And today, as much of the world finds itself under various quarantine, isolation, stay-at-home orders, and facing uncertainty related to COVID-19, Venice's quarantine history and the archaeology of isolation hospitals is especially relevant. That is an amazing thing, I think. It's an extraordinary thing. But ultimately, the way we react, to these things and are reacting right now, it's very clear that we are creatures of habit. We can't help ourselves. This is what we do. And I just happen to have a song called, yes, way back. No one's heard this for a very long time, from the capital years. I think I'll take these off. I look less intelligent without them on my head. But this is a song I wrote about the fact that try as I sometimes might, to be better, to not do the same knee-jerk things that I always do. I can't help myself. Sometimes I'm just a fucking creature of habits, so forgive me. Here we go.
Do you know this place? Do you know this face? Do you see the space I live in now? Well, I've done my best, but I failed the test, and I see the pain upon your brow, 'cause we're all creatures of habit now. Creatures of habit now. Did I say it wrong? Did I come on too strong? Did I pull the rug from beneath you now? Well, I've done my best, but I failed the test. I see the pain upon your brow. And we're all creatures of habit now. Creatures of habit now. La 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 la. If I turn you wild, if I turn you to a child, with words so harsh I break your will. If I turn you back to the darkest days, please believe me, that angry heart is still. We're all creatures of habit now. Creatures of habit now. La 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 we're creatures now. We're all creatures now.
I thank you in my most medieval way.
and a hey nonny nonny and a hey nee nee.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Are you ready? That's a little bit of respite from the horror that is having fun knowing the Black Death. There's Creatures of Habits for you. Oh my God, it's been such a long time since I sang that. I can't even get to I don't even sing it anymore, so there you have it. But thank you so much. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Now, onwards. Oh, I'm not letting this go. I'm like a dog with a bone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Oh, I love to see the hands clapping. I love it. Clap, 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 clap. Oh, sigh. Back to the darkness. But the Black Death, the dark cloud as I'm going to call it, I think it's had a bad rap. Changed society greatly, greatly, greatly. Thank you, Naomi. Thank you. Thank you all so much. It changed it for the better. Now, I'm not holding on to straws. I'm not trying to say this isn't terrible what we're going through. But I do think there's a chance to actually have greatness, bring greatness, change our ways, you know. Let's stop, you know, oh God, you know what I'm going to say. You know, okay, Boccaccio, for example, he influenced Chaucer, Shakespeare. I mean, it was incredible. That is what came out of the Black Death. The arts came to the fore, so much painting, so much art, so much creativity, because that's the way people deal with it. Yes, it is. And there were many great things that came from this. I'm going to refer to this in just a little bit. But we're forced to change our way of thinking. We're forced to be illuminated. We're forced to be inspired when your nose is up against it and you don't see a way out. It is what happens. I encourage us all to start thinking in this way if we can. I mean, many of us need distraction. Of course we do. We all want distraction. We all want fun, pop songs and fun music and everything to get us through, to make us feel lighthearted, to distract us. We need it. We need it. But we also need to be addressing it and actually, like I said, greatness to come from this. Great thought, science, medicine, music, painting, the arts, everything can come from this again. I know you're like, oh, what the fuck is she on about? Seriously, soon you won't get through. Many of us will need Love Island to give us a false sense of security, to pretend it's all back to normal. Others of us will feel even more like we want to vomit at the sight of fit bodies, mindless morons trying to shag each other with the seriousness of a scientist splitting the atom. I just thought I'd throw that one in just because it gets on my tits. But just like the Black Death, I'm not comparing Love Island to the Black Death. That would be really unfair to one of them. Many say, fuck it, live large and partay. Others, you know, like I said, we'll hide out, we'll just get away from it. We can afford to, we can just run away and that's it. You know, but it could be the golden age again. This could be the golden age, or maybe just the golden shower age. I mean, I don't know what either. I don't know, one of them. I was deeply affected by medieval art when I was a kid. I mean, I'm a huge art historian. I've always loved art. I always thought that if I wasn't a musician, I would have just loved to have been an artist, a painter, something, you know, arty-farty and fantastic. So I really could get away with wearing shirts like this. But I was particularly affected as a kid by Bruegel and Bosch. You know, everything was so fucking ugly. I mean, it just appeals to me, you know, with warped brain chemistry and a darkness is inherently Welsh. I really did relate to paintings that looked like this and were filled with death and skeletons and Bosch and weird things and all sorts of shit. And having seen them in real life, having seen them up close, and having seen recently, if Pedro, Leland and I believe we saw the Bosch in the Garden of Good and Evil. One of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life, and so twisted and fucked up and amazing. It's just remarkable, and that's an example of what comes from all this around us. But I was particularly, can I show you this please? I was particularly moved by Bruegel the Elder. You know this one? Black Death? Yeah, especially this bit, that bit at the top. Number 4, that's number 4 on mine. Number 4, everyone, number 4. It's astounding. If you see this, if you have a chance to see this, I think this is actually in the National Gallery or somewhere like that. I remember staring at it at length when I was a kid. It must be in a London museum. But you know, there's Death riding through on a skeletal horse with a scythe in his hand, you know, the one, whoosh, hey Pedro, and Can I share with you the dream I had about this painting? And I shit you not, it's a true story. It's a true story. And this is what I mean about things that come out of our imagination. Okay, the brain chemistry mixed with a really overactive imagination. Unlike my husband, I think I've mentioned before, my husband's idea of a nightmare is he goes to the post office to buy stamps and they've run out. No, that was it. That was it. That was it. No death. No one shooting at him. No. No monsters. No stamps. So anyway, anywho, true story. I was flying to, remember when we could fly? Remember what flying used to be like? Well, I was on a plane and I'm on my way back to the UK. And, I've often had death anxiety. Obviously, it comes with the depression and the anxiety anyway. I know, so we know that. But I had one of those dreams, and I must have been looking at this painting. I must have been reading about it. It must have been, because it's typical of me that I would, to cheer myself up. So, I had this dream. I had a dream I feel like I'm now sharing with you, like I went to see a medium and they told me, that I was like, I had returned as, no, my luck, I just returned as the Black Death. So, I had this dream and I was waiting in limbo. I realized I was waiting in limbo to decide whether I was going to heaven or hell. These are what all my dreams are like, and they're in Technicolor. Any of you have Technicolor dreams? Because I fucking do. Again, they look like my shirt, but with a lot of bad stuff. I'm in the room, in limbo, and death walks in, looking like that. Looking like death, the skeleton on the horse with the scythe. But he's no horse, but he comes in looking like that. Terrifying, fucking terrifying. And I say to him, let me go back. Just let me go back for a bit. Maybe this is my time, but you don't have to take me. Let me go. Let me have longer, please. And of course, probably, you gave that to a therapist, they'd probably say, well, that was just, you being scared of death and wanting to live more and being faithful, and you're in a plane and you're anxious and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I say to death, please, can I have more time? And death, the skeleton with the scythe, says to me, well, he turns around and he begs me to help him, because he says that the world has become so awful and it's gone on for so many centuries and so many thousands of years. His killing and culling and cruelty, that he's had enough. And I shit you not, this is the kind of dream that I had. This isn't even a complicated one or a ridiculous one. He's had enough, and can I please help him? Because as far as he's concerned, he can't do anymore, and it just feels like it's getting worse, and it's pushing him, and the ship is going down, and now he doesn't know, and why can't God, as if he is whatever, why can't God just put him out of his misery? Why can't we just stop it? And I'm sure I must have been watching a program or something about, global warming at the end of the earth, what we're doing to I'm sure that's what was it. The sense that we're on the cusp of wiping ourselves out. I'm sure that's where it came from. And this is some years back. But that was my dream. And I recorded this at Capitol, and it's a song that I never ever released. I never brought it out, and maybe I just thought it was too much of a bummer for anybody to be able to cope with. But as it turns out right now, it actually seems quite cheery, and I thought I would share it with you. And so, for the first time in the history of, obviously so many songs written about the Black Death. Thank you. Here today on For Fuck's Sake, I'm going to share with you a song that I wrote with the fabulous Cliff Magnus. It's the name for it I made up. It's called Diabolyne, as in diabolic. And it is about the dream I had, a true dream. I'll take a lie detector if you think that I'm making it up. And I do apologize if I fuck this up. Not that you'd know, but it's a tough one. Pedro, you'll know why. So here we go.
Dark night, I was 1,000 miles from my home. It was a long flight there some confusion? Was it in the stars? And I asked politely, could there be a mistake? Could I go back home, please? Could he wait a little longer? And he told me, save me, this ship is going down. Save me, this ship is going down. Save me, this ship is going down. The ship is going down. Told me his story. He said that he was the curse of men, from babes to banshees, from the A-bomb back to Abraham. He was sick of the bloodshed. He was tired of being cruel. He was sick of watching children killing children after school. Where was God when you need him to hold a gun to your head? Well, there's just no escaping when you're the devil and you're dead. Save me, this ship is going down. Save me, this ship is going down. Save me, this ship is going down. The ship is going down. It was a dark night. I was 1,000 miles from my home.
I should bring that back. I think maybe I should do it. Get the girls, get Gabby on the cello. Wouldn't that be oh, thank you, my sister. Thank you. The idea. Truly, I woke up and I thought, I'm more fucked up than I thought. I really did think I'm more fucked up. Limbo, a room between two floors. Yeah, I thought I'm more fucked up than I originally thought that I could have a dream like that. But I literally started singing into the phone and started writing on the plane, and by the time I got home, that was really, really it. And it was just like, wow. So that's what strangeness can do. That's what life can do. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mike. I will send you the words. I promise you, Steve. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. And you know who's on it is, oh my gosh, Beck's father did the string arrangements for it. Oh God, what is his name? Somebody, you must know what his name is. He's so incredible. He just does so much great string arrangement at work. And he did a thing on it that was utterly demonic, that basically sounded like this. Looks. So my friends, you've been so wonderful to join me in this crazy little time, of course, that I've taken you through today. But you know, I say it in jest, but I also say it in complete honesty that we've been here before. We go through this so many times. And let me tell you, there are things that come out of this, not just art as well, but listen to the way that the Black Death changed. You know, apart from honestly, how art comes out of every amazing art, you know, that has come out, not just Bruegel, but there's, Egon Schiele, the family, that was in the 1918 Spanish flu, as was Edvard Munch, self-portrait after the Spanish influenza. Keith Haring, you know, Ignorance, all the stuff that he did, about AIDS, and the same with David Wojnarowicz. You know, those falling buffaloes one. I wish I had the photos of them, but I couldn't get this together this quickly. But here's some interesting things about the way Black Death shaped this civilization. It changed our DNA, for fuck's sake. It changed our DNA. It's probably what's made us unable to deal as well with certain immunology, because of the way that our bodies responded to that. It's still, you know, here we are, genetically, we're those people. This is who we are. We've come from that. But did you know that the English pub came from the Black Death ultimately? Because it says here, now this of course it could be a whole load of crap that some idiot sold me, but no, it isn't. It's profound but still fascinating to know the rise in the English pub as we know it today. That's what I got a photograph of, is of an English pub. Like, I need that. The culture of the English pub can be traced directly back to the Black Death, according to one historian, Professor Robert Tomes from Cambridge University, so we know it's true. That wages rose and prices fell following the plague. You know, what happened after that was that so many people died. Now the landowners, we'd all been serfs and basically slaves. Now we could actually set our price and say, no, there's not enough workforce. It created the working class. It did. This is the power that it gave in what came from it, but also pubs. I didn't even know that. Allowing working people easier access to beer. Pubs sprang up to accommodate the demand, sparking the English pub culture, for fuck's sake. That's unbelievable. Brewers could operate full-time thanks to the greater freedom and prosperity for the working class in the wake of the Black Death. Here's another one. This is going to just rock your world, especially with some of my Viking friends. Rachel, I'm talking about you. It prevented Vikings from settling in North America. I'm not sure that would have been such a bad thing now. I'm starting to think it would have been great. We'd all look like Norway and Sweden. It'd be fucking ace. History of North America would have looked a whole lot different, yeah. Viking settlers in Greenland, blah, 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 but they died due to the plague, and they couldn't get a foothold on mainland North America as they had wanted to, because they were enfeebled by the plague. Fuck, that would have been great, wouldn't it? Everything would have looked all Scandi. All the houses have been Scandi looking. There have been hot tubs everywhere. We'd be eating pickled herring and roll mop. Fantastic. The Black Death killed millions of people and tore families apart. And it was difficult for survivors to figure out inheritances and exactly who owned what pieces of property, especially when all the male heirs were wiped out. Family squabbles over such issues led to litigation on a level unheard of prior to the plague, which led to further litigation that set precedents in property laws that stand today. Yes, I think we do believe that the biological warfare was begun. The first case was throwing those bodies over the wall. That's horrendous. I think it also really did start with here's one that we always go to. It's the knee-jerk, isn't it? When bad things happen, we look for people to blame. It is xenophobia at its worst. This is what brings out of us. It's the saddest thing in the world. Of course, the Black Death brought about a brand new wave of anti-Semitism and hatred for Jews. And intolerance in Europe. Well, we're seeing a whole lot of people acting badly and doing terrible things to people of color, to people who aren't like themselves, to people who are from China, people who look like they're from any part of Asia will do. Just as long as you just look slightly different, that'll do. There's this horrible thing called xenophobia, we have that to really get excited about. But thank God is all I can say. Thank God that we're not going through the Black Death again. We're not. Compared to the Black Death, I know it's hard to get your head around. It's hard for all of us. But this is a fairly mild pandemic. It doesn't feel like it. It's absolutely shocking. But perhaps that's the way we're dealing with it, is more shocking. I put it to you. We can learn from history. Yes, we can. Oh my God, we can. Jesus Christ, maybe that's what's called history. We can learn from history, especially as it has this crazy way of repeating itself over and over and over. There can be a true renaissance of mind, body and spirit. This is an inspiring time. We need to lessen the gap between the have and the have-nots. Good grief, Boccaccio. We shouldn't put our hope in faith, in blind faith. Do you know the other thing I forgot to mention was that so many religious people, this is what was the change in religious belief. So many monks and priests and people in monasteries were packed in together. They had the plague, they were all dying out, people flagellating in the streets, or everything that you said to God, everything that you could possibly, it didn't work. And it started to make people question their religion, question their faith, and it changed the religious landscape and moved towards Protestantism. It's really quite incredible. It made people question and think this is a good thing. But we shouldn't put our faith in blind belief, conspiracies, xenophobia, superstitions. It was the beginning of the Black Cat, by the way, in the Black Death. It started that because it was all like, oh, now we're going to get even more superstitious, bleach. No, it was cats. Black cats were then seen as being profoundly evil because they were black, because it was the Black Death. They were seen as having witchery and witchcraft in them, and they have suffered ever since, which is why I have black cats. So let's not have greedy politicians, superstitions, leeching, drinking bleach, or the hydroxy thing. But we can continue. Here's what I'm ending. Good people. We can continue to put our faith in dogs, because there is an amazing painting, an illustration I'm going to share with you right now, that just shows us that in 1340, during the Black Death, dogs were still our greatest companions, our allies, and some would say even our little nurses. That's because, I'm back. That's because if you look right here, see that? See the little dogs at the bottom? See what they're doing? That's right. They're licking the boils. They're licking the boils that came with the Black Death, with the plague. They're licking them because they're dogs. They're licking them because they probably don't even ask, please. But we do know there's germicide or something in dogs, so it was all a win-win. But I don't know what to say about that, except it's repulsive, made me want to gag when I saw it, but it also made me go, fucking dogs. The best. They'd even lick your boils. Thank you. So, I refer now once again to this, because let's be honest, which would we prefer to wear? The tiny mask over the face that doesn't really inhibit us in any fucking way whatsoever, God's great breathing apparatus, or this? Yes, it does make me look fat. And on that note, I want to thank you so much for joining with me for my Black Death Decameron jaunt, historical jaunt. I want to let you know that there is tomorrow a brand new a cappella coming out. Song you saw me recently do, and for fuck's sake, with myself and Leland Sklar following that, there'll be one more that we did yesterday that's coming out with the fabulous Pedro Segundo, Leland Sklar, and myself. So look out for those coming very, very soon. I will see you Sunday, and I cannot wait to share something else with you. I'm going to take it in another direction. I'm going to soothe you. I'm going to do something really nice and not quite so fucked up. Why would I do that? It's not who I am. In the meantime, thank you for spending this time with me. Look after yourselves, wash your hands, wear the masks, distance. Boccaccio is not wrong. We know this. We know what to do, people. So, until I see you on Sunday, this has been, for fuck's sake, can I hear it with me, Judith Owen. Love you guys. Take care. Mwah.